Vehicle pre-trip inspection of the outside of the tractor and the trailer using the vehicle inspection checkoff list. Lenses. All lights are security mounted, not cracked, clean, and proper color. Amber for the turn signal, clearance and ID lights, and clear on the headlights. Fluid leaks. I'll look under the tractor for fluid leaks, and I'll look on the side of the engine for any fluid leaks that may be coming from the engine or the transmission area. Fluid levels. I would check the coolant reservoir. That is security mounted, not damaged. All hoses are properly connected. Caps on tightly, and the fluid is at the proper level. Never remove the cap unless the engine is cool. I'm going to come down to the driver's side. Power steering fluid. The power steering fluid reservoir is security mounted, not damaged, not leaking. All hoses properly connected. Caps on tightly. I would check to make sure that the fluid levels is at the proper level. I'll be checking the engine oil. I'll take the dipstick, pull it out, wipe it off, reinsert it, pull it out, and check to see if it's at the proper level. If I need to add fluid, I'll remove the fluid cap, fill tube cap, and add oil through the fill tube. And recheck the oil, make sure it's at the proper level. Air leaks. Listen for air leaks that may be coming from the hoses, air hoses in the engine compartment, or the air compressor. I would make sure all hoses are properly connected. Air compressor, that I don't hear any leaks. It's security mounted, not damaged, not leaking, and it is gear driven. Steering system. The steering gearbox is security mounted, not damaged or leaking. Power steering hoses, all the hoses, power steering going from the gearbox to power steering fluid, all hoses are security mounted, not cracked, frayed, or leaking. The steering linkage, the pitman arm, the drag link, the steering rod, tie rod, all are security mounted, not worn, cracked, or loose. They are not missing any nuts, bolts, or cotter keys. Steering suspension. My front and rear spring mounts are security mounted, not damaged, not loose, not damaged or cracked. Spring leaves. The spring leaves are securely mounted, not cracked, shifted, or missing. The shock absorber is security mounted, not damaged, and no leaks. Airbags is on your checkoff list, but there's no airbags on the steering system, so I'm just going to walk back up here, or the examiner might just cross it out and tell me I don't have to inspect it, but I'll inspect it anyway. Airbag mounts is security mounted, not damaged, missing any bolts. The airbag is security mounted, not cracked, frayed, and is not leaking. Come back to the engine. I'm going to check my tires. ICD, inflation, condition, and depth. Inflation, I would use a air gauge, and I would check for proper inflation, about 100 PSIs. The condition, I'll look in the inner and the outer walls. That is no cuts, bulges, or divots. Tread is worn evenly, and this steer tire cannot be recapped. The depth, tire depth, I would check with a gauge and make sure it's at least no less than 4/32 of an inch. The rim is security mounted, not damaged or cracked. There can be no illegal welds. Lug nuts are security mounted. All are present, no rust trails, which can indicate looseness. Valve stem and cap, I would check that to make sure that security mounted, not damaged, and not here, no leaking from the valve stem. Hub oil seal in the center of the wheel. It's security mounted, not damaged or leaking. And I'll check to make sure the fluid's at the proper level. The brake inspection consists of two parts. I would check the hoses are security mounted, not cracked, frayed, or leaking. I would check all around the brake system, make sure there's no contaminants such as fluids or oil that's on the brake system that can affect braking performance. The frame of the tractor, I would check that is security mounted, not damaged, no illegal welds, not bent on the frame. I also go back down to the rear of the tractor. I'll inspect this frame the same as I inspected the frames on the front. Also, I would check the frame on the trailer. Long members, cross members, and floorboards, all security mounted, not damaged, and able to support and hold the load. Also part of the frames is the tandem release arm and pins. This trailer does not have a tandem release arm, but I would check to make sure all pins are fully engaged so it can support the frame of the trailer. On the side of the trailer, on the side of the tractor, I'm checking lenses, security mounted, not damaged, and it's the proper color. Fuel tanks. My DEF tank, security mounted, not damaged, not leaking, caps on tightly, all straps and everything's connected properly. The fuel tank, make sure that is security mounted, not damaged, caps on tightly, shows no sign of leaks. Checked out the straps that they show no damage and they are properly secure in the tank. Battery box. The battery box on this tractor sometimes is behind the catwalk, on this one is under the door, under the driver's seat. Battery box is security mounted, not damaged. All wires are, I'll check that all wires are tight, not frayed. You do not have to open up the lid. All you have to do is describe. Airline connection, do we do it all at one time? Service blue and emergency red. Airlines are security mounted at the back of the cab. You're not cracked, frayed, or leaking. The electric line is properly inserted into the back of the cab and is not cracked, frayed. All airlines are not tangled and dragging against the catwalk. On the front of the trailer or the front of the trailer, the service blue, emergency red lines are properly coupled with the glad hands to the front of the trailer, and I hear no leaking, no air leaks. The electric line is properly inserted in the front of the trailer. Fifth wheel inspection. The fifth wheel inspection. Mounting bolts. I'll make sure all mounting bolts are present and none are missing. Platform is security mounted to the tractor frame. This is a stationary fifth wheel. So if it was a sliding fifth wheel, all pins, I'll make sure all pins are fully engaged. But this is a stationary fifth wheel. The skid plate is security mounted to the platform, is not damaged or cracked. No missing pins and is properly lubricated. The apron is security mounted to the bottom of the trailer, is not damaged or cracked. I would check for there's no gap between the skid plate and the apron. The kingpin in the back, you do not have to crawl under the tractor, just explain it. It's secure and point to where the kingpin would be. Security mounted to the apron and is not bent. The release arm is security mounted and not damaged and is in the fully engaged position. The locking jaws, you'll point where the kingpin and locking jaws will go around the kingpin, are security mounted, not damaged, and is in the fully engaged position. The fifth wheel is positioned properly, so when making turns, it will clear the landing legs during turns. The landing legs and clearance, the landing pads are securely in fully raised position. The support frame and the landing pads are security mounted, not damaged, and not missing any parts. The crank handle is in the proper position and locked. Reflector tape on the side of the trailer. DOT reflector is security mounted, clean, and the proper color. The rear of the trailer. And also we check all the lenses on the trailer. All security mounted, not damaged. The lenses are not cracked, and proper color. We still have another lens back here, ABS, and another lens back here, and any lenses will be on the top. Then go to the rear of the trailer. All lights. This one doesn't have lights on the top, but it has all lights are securely, all lights, clearance, ID, brake lights, and turn signals are security mounted, not cracked, clean, and proper color. ABS light is amber, which we just saw back here, amber. DOT reflector, security mounted, clean, and proper color. Now I have my students do the light operation check at the end. You can do it right after you're in cab, and you will make sure all lights work. All lights work. I like to do it at the end because it's a little time consuming, and hopefully the examiner, if you have enough points to pass your test, he might just skip that and just go on with the skill testing. So this is your pre-trip inspection using the check-off list. Please, if you go to a school and you at a CDL school, follow their wording. One school will have wording that's not the same as another school, so you must follow the wording that's on the school. Some schools will have you do a mirror, windshield, and a wiper operation on the inside, and then going outside and do a check on that. Also, we didn't do the mirrors. So you will touch and feel all the mirrors. Make sure this is a monitoring device. Make sure the mirror is security mounted, not damaged, and it is not cracked and is clean. Make sure you check all your mirrors. So when you get to the rear, before you say that's it, go back and check. I forgot the mirrors, so I went back and realized on my checkoff list, side it had traffic monitoring devices. I realized I did not do that. I did check. And we want to get back up here. I did in cab. I did my light operation check. I'll do that at the very end. I did check all my lenses. Make sure you even check behind the tractor. On your test, in your book, it said you only have to check the lenses on the back of the trailer. So don't kind of trust any, especially if you had a third-party testing site. More is better than less. Check my fluid levels. I did okay there. Fluid and air leaks, I feel confident. Steering system, I feel confident. Tires, I feel confident. Rims, lug nuts, spring and airbags and shock on the side. Since there's none on the steering axle, I did go in the back and did inspected the airbags on the drive just to be safe. Brake lines and hoses and leaks. And brake contaminants is only 2 parts, so there's no leaking on that. So I would go back and check my brake hoses and also make sure I do say the words. It is not leaking. Brake contaminants, no oil or fluids on the brakes, which can cause braking issues. Side of the vehicle, we did our lenses. That was on the side of the door, and reflectors. So I'm not too sure if I did a reflector on this tractor. I don't see any reflectors, but I can go in the back and there's reflectors up the top of the back windows. Make sure you check reflectors. That's why you have a guide. It can come back and you can come back in and check items that you may have missed. The frames, there's 3 frames. There's 11.8 on the CDL driver's manual. The tractor frame, really by the rules, you only you can inspect it just once, but I tried to be safe, and more is better. So I did the tractor frame, engine frame, did in the back. I said I'll inspect that the same as I did the tractor frame. And then I went under the trailer, checked the trailer supports and frames, long members, cross members, floorboards, and also made sure all the pins were fully engaged on the tandems. And also if it had a tandem release arm, which this one did not, I would make sure that the tandem release arm was in the fully engaged position. Airlines, I did all at one time. Airlines and electric lines, connectors, I did all at once. Did the front of the tractor, and then went back to the catwalk, make sure nothing was tangled or hanging. Then I went back and did the front of the trailer where it connected there, make sure there's no leaks and it's properly connected with the glad hands. The kingpin, apron, all that stuff. So if it's like drawstring, what the examiners do is just cross that out, tongue and all that, if it doesn't apply to the tractor that you or trailer that you are inspecting. Locking devices and safety, that's your so make sure that the fifth wheel is fully, you know, the docking jaws are fully engaged around the kingpin, and also the release arm is in fully engaged position. On the trailer, the only thing on the trailer would be the landing gear and clearance and all that support. Make sure reflector tapes. And once again, just do your lights on the rear. Then it just goes to the rear of the trailer and do your lights and lenses. I try to do more, so I do the lights and lenses on the back of the tractor also. Just add it in. It never hurts to add, to do more and instead of less. That way you always feel safe. Also, communicate with the examiner. Make sure that you're on the same page even before your test. If you're a third-party tester, testing site, talk to them and the other students who took the test. What did they expect from you as a student doing a pre-trip inspection? So, and every school, like I said, will be different. The wording may be different. So, best to you. I hope this video has helped you, and I'll see you in the next run.